Hey, what's up, guys? Tougie here, back again. And you know, when you see this fat face, it means that there is a very important video being made. And indeed, that is the case today. You asked for it, you're getting it. My playoff predictions video. Now, there is only one real way to start this video off, and that is to look at the video that I made back in October, my preseason predictions. This is the bracket. Don't ask me why the Eastern Conference is on the left-hand side. I can only assume that I was extremely tired when I made that video. I legitimately don't have an answer, and I'm sorry. But as you can see, we had Tampa ultimately winning. I mean, in the East, we had Tampa and Florida, Boston, Toronto, Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, Washington and Columbus. And in the Western Conference, although they're on the Eastern side in this one, Nashville, Dallas, Winnipeg, St. Louis, San Jose, Calgary, LA, and Vegas. Did I get it 100% correct? Obviously not, but, you know, we did okay. We did okay. What, 3 teams, I believe I'm counting there, between Florida, Philadelphia, and Los Angeles, that didn't end up making the playoffs. Now, because of this current format, of course, it's not all that difficult to say who the top 3 are going to be, but I'm still relatively happy with this. But before I get into talking about the actual bracket, I want to talk about the teams that did not make it because, you know, they deserve a little something, right? Not going to say a whole hell of a lot about them. To the Montreal Canadiens, who just missed out. Much better season than anybody expected, especially, you know, with Weber and Price being injured heading into the year. But the emergence of Kotkaniemi, the emergence of Thomas Tatar, and some of the other ridiculous players, and Ryan Poehling joins that list on the last day of the season. I punched my desk. That's okay. Hell of a season for them. For the Florida Panthers, I mean, you wasted a great season for Mike Hoffman and a tremendous season for Sasha Barkov. Don't know what to tell you. For Philadelphia, you used 8 goaltenders this year, or was it 9? You used a lot of goaltenders this year. You're probably too good on paper with some of your superstars to, or stars at least, to miss the playoffs. Very disappointing year for them. For the New York Rangers, not all that bad. Some of the young talent really emerged this year. You couldn't really expect to make the playoffs. It's probably for the best that you didn't make the playoffs. For the Buffalo Sabres, it was good while it lasted. See if you end up giving Jeff Skinner $10 million this offseason. For the Detroit Red Wings, again, couldn't really expect to make the playoffs. If you did, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. But still, obviously the emergence of guys like Larkin, Bertuzzi, the young talent that they still have coming up through the system. They're going to have good draft picks this year. Things are looking very good for Detroit as long as they don't screw it up for themselves. New Jersey, I didn't predict them making the playoffs. I didn't think they'd be this bad, though. The goaltending primarily, but really nothing went right for them this year. We'll see how they are next year. And for the Ottawa Senators, you're a hockey team. Can't take that away from you. In the Western Conference, first out, we had the Arizona Coyotes. Did not predict them making the playoffs. It was another year, though, of just, well, you might make it if you can stay healthy, and they didn't stay healthy. But maybe next year, right? Which is what we've been saying for 3 seasons now. The Chicago Blackhawks did not make it. They finally fell off. Didn't have them making the playoffs, so I'm pretty happy about that one. Although a late season, as the zone, SZN. Late season resurgence almost got them back into it. It's Chicago. Of course, they're looking good. The Brinkett scores 40-plus freaking goals. The Strome trade's working out very well for them so far. They're going to be back in it sooner rather than later. Although, for Corey Crawford, I mean, man, if you can't stay healthy, especially with concussion concerns, step away, man. I'm concerned about your health. The Minnesota Wild did not make it, which isn't all that surprising. They were definitely one of those fringe teams that were either going to barely sneak in or miss out. Probably not ideal for them to miss out, though. But, again, not that unexpected. The Vancouver Canucks. Pedersen. Quinn Hughes is going to be great. It's looking good, again, as long as you don't screw it up. Very Detroit-like. For the Anaheim Ducks, I think that sums up your season right there. For the Edmonton Oilers, I think that sums up your season. And hope. I mean, I'm recording this after McDavid got injured in the last game of the year. Good Lord, what a season. And for the Los Angeles Kings, thank you for signing Kovalchuk and stopping them from doing it. Kovalchuk's not that bad, but for that price and everything else that happened, Yikes. Let's get to talking about the actual bracket, though, shall we? In the Western Conference, we have Nashville and Dallas in the first round. I think I'm going to go matchup by matchup here. I correctly predicted this matchup as well, with, of course, Nashville being the top seed. I said that the Preds would win in the preseason. I'm still taking Nashville here. How could I not? They're ridiculous. You look at the trades that they made, adding the likes of Granlund. For Dallas, I don't think it's a wash. I mean, in terms of predicting games, it's got to go 6 or 7, right? And if you look at Dallas this season, the emergence of someone like Heiskanen, horse shit aside, the emergence of someone like Heiskanen, you look at how good Ben Bishop's been this year, and he really should be a Vezina candidate. Hell, he might win the damn thing. Dallas has a puncher's chance, and I won't be surprised if they win, but the odds-on favorite are Nashville for a reason, and the pressure's starting to mount after, of course, appearing in the Cup final not that long ago. Pressure's starting to mount. They need to have a decent run here, especially, too, after losing in the second round last year to Winnipeg. I think they'll at least make it back to the second round. I'm going to take Nashville in 6, but if you were to tell me that Dallas wins in 6 or 7, I would not be surprised. We move on to Winnipeg and St. Louis, which, again, I properly predicted, so I'm doing pretty well so far on the Western Conference side. This did not look like it was going to happen in December, though. My God, what a turnaround for the Blues. The emergence of Jordan Binnington, everything that happened for the Blues for them to turn it around, commendable. However, they're not beating Winnipeg. There's no way. Unless the Jets just run out of gas, to make that analogy, I guess. I don't see it happening. I can see why Winnipeg ran out of steam in the Western Conference Final against Vegas last year. I just don't see it happening this time, though. I'm going to take the Jets in 5. I could see it going 6. However, if you were to tell me that the Blues are going to somehow take this in 6 or 7, I wouldn't be shocked. But I am going with Winnipeg still, and we are going to get the rematch. Winnipeg and Nashville, round 2. Round 2, if you get what I'm saying. Very much looking forward to it. We move on to Calgary and the Colorado Avalanche, the Flames, the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. Certainly not what I had predicted. A tremendous season for them. Colorado as well. Didn't have them making the playoffs. Who really knew that top line, granted Landeskog went down, Rantanen went down as well, but who would have thought that top line would have been as good as they were, let alone the fact you have some other players stepping up. You look at someone like a Carl Soderberg and what he did this year. The goaltending was on point. Everything went right for the Avalanche. And despite some concerns over Calgary's goaltending still, I am going to be taking the Flames in this one. I can't help but go with the favorites thus far. They are the favorites for a reason. I'm going to take the Flames in 5. I could see it ending sooner. I'd like to at least think that Colorado can win a game or 2, though. But yeah, props to the Calgary Flames for a very strong season. And then we have San Jose and Vegas. Had both of them making the playoffs in the preseason, obviously not going up against one another. But it kind of sucks that one of these two teams will be out in the first round. And I genuinely don't know who to pick here. I mean, you look at Vegas, the acquisition of Mark Stone. They made it to the Cup final last year, obviously. But my heart is with the Sharks on this one because of Joe Thornton. I'm just sitting here thinking about, I don't know who to pick. I have to go. I'm going to go with Vegas in 6. But just know I'm rooting for San Jose this time. We move on to the eastern side of the bracket. We start at the very top. The Tampa Bay Lightning and the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, obviously, in my preseason bracket, I had the Blue Jackets against Washington because I thought they'd do a little bit better. Had you told me they also would have acquired Matt Duchene in the middle of the season, or at least towards the back half of the season, and told me that they were still going to be a wildcard team, let alone the 8th seed, probably wouldn't have believed you. I can't help but think here, though, that the challenge is just too much. The only way, I mean, you have Nikita Kucherov scoring the most points in an NHL season since Mario Lemieux and Jaromir Jagr both had 140 plus in 96. I think Jagr had like 141 or 143, and Lemieux had 161 or something outrageous like that. Unbelievable season for Tampa. One of the best regular seasons of all time. I don't think the run ends here. I simply can't see it. For Columbus, Again, commendable, I suppose, to make it back into the playoffs after they struggled, but unfortunately their reward for struggling in the regular season is a first-round exit against Tampa. I'm taking Tampa in 5, might see it go 6. Can Columbus pull off a miracle here? Sure, but I'm going with the favorites again here. And then we get to the least exciting series of them all. Boston and Toronto. I predicted Boston would be the 2 seed, by the way, so bonus points there. Also predicted that the Bruins would beat the Leafs for the 2nd year in a row, and that is not changing. With the Leafs, again, sure, the offense is outrageous, but it's still that defense, and it's still whether or not a question of have they overworked Freddie Anderson, who had a bit of an injury scare in Game 82 because they played him for some reason in Game 82. Why is beyond me. Oh, the Bruins played Rask in Game 82. The Bruins at least have Jaro Halak, who has had an up-and-down season, started off so incredibly hot. The Bruins at least have Halak. I would trust Halak if something were to have happened to Tuukka in Game 82, as opposed to if something would have happened to Freddie, and you have to rely on Garrett Sparks or Michael Hutchison. I'm sorry, but the Leafs defense, the goaltending concerns over how much gas is left in the tank for Freddie Anderson, who again might be up there for Vezina consideration. I'm going with the Bruins. I'm going with the Bruins in 6. Call it a bias, if you will. Can I see the Leafs winning this series? Absolutely. But I'm going with the Bruins on this one. We go to Washington and Carolina. I did not have the Hurricanes making the playoffs, I think for obvious reasons, with their goaltending concerns heading into the season. Maybe some offensive concerns as well. I can't speak, but maybe some offensive concerns as well after trading Jeff Skinner. But bunch of jerks or not, tremendous season. However, they are going up against the defending Stanley Cup champions, and I just don't trust the Hurricanes goaltending against this Washington offense. There's no way. Alex Ovechkin putting up 50 goals again. They're just too good. They're just too good. They didn't have to make that many major changes, whatsoever, really, to the lineup. Of course, they acquired Nick Jensen near the deadline. I'm going with the Caps in 5. I'm going with the Caps in 5, but, props to the Hurricanes for making the playoffs for the first time in 10 years. And we go to our final matchup, the New York Islanders against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, I had this one wrong. I had the Penguins finishing 2nd in the Metro, and shockingly, of course, the Islanders made the playoffs as opposed to the Philadelphia Flyers. I can't help but think that the Islanders are going to pull this off. It's been a magical season for them. Losing John Tavares, of course, has been the story for this team to rally, for the story of Robin Lehner, who's nearly a lock to win the Masterton. I can't help but think this might happen. But with the Penguins, it's the Penguins. My doubt with them, of course, they've had some struggles this year, and just the overall sense of fatigue for some of their stars. But is that star power too much for the Islanders? I suppose that's the real question. This is another series that I can see going either way. I have to be honest. Every single series I could see going either way. There isn't a series, even the Tampa-Columbus series, I don't see there being a lock to win. No matter what. I could see it going either way. But do I want a Washington-Pittsburgh second-round matchup again? I don't know if I do. And I don't know if that's what I see happening. It's a matter of what I want to happen versus what I think will happen. Part of me wants the New York Islanders to move on. I'm taking Pittsburgh in 7. I can't help it. So we move on to the second round in the Western Conference. We have a rematch again, Nashville and Winnipeg. And I don't know. It's going to be a slugfest again. There's no doubt about it. I'm going to go with Nashville on this one. I don't think Pekka Rinne is going to shit the bed this time. I think the Preds are going to move on. As far as a prediction, 6, 7, take your pick. I'm going to go with Nashville over Winnipeg just off of pure luck. Again, that's another 50-50 toss-up. And in the bottom half, between Calgary and Vegas, I am going to go with Calgary this time out, I think. I'm gonna go. Oh, how good's Fleury gonna be? I'm going with Vegas. Damn it, I'm going with Vegas. Or am I? I don't know. I think it's... You know what? I'm going to go with what I want to happen. Calgary, Winnipeg, Western Conference Final. Let's make it happen. Let's get a Canadian team back in the final. In the East, we have Tampa and Boston. In the preseason, I predicted Tampa to, of course, win the whole damn thing. I have the utmost confidence and belief in my team. However, I'm taking Tampa in 6. They're just too good. And I have no shame in saying that I'm predicting Tampa over Boston on this one. I think if you look on paper, which is what this is about, how could you not go with Tampa? And in the bottom half, we have Washington and Pittsburgh. Yet again, I am going with Washington. I think, again... Or am I? The thought in my head is, how fatigued is Pittsburgh? But how fatigued is Washington? How fatigued are the Caps after their postseason run last year? I think I'm going to go with Washington still. Again, it continues the trend of 50-50. We're going to have a rematch in the East. We're going to have Tampa and Washington, but I want to start over in the West. All-Canadian matchup, Winnipeg and Calgary. And I think this time, Winnipeg gets it done. I think Calgary will have a slightly easier road to get there, having to go through Colorado and then either Vegas or San Jose. Of course, I predicted Vegas, but I'm going with Winnipeg this time. You could argue that they haven't been as impressive this year, but I think in the playoffs they're going to turn it on. And I don't think they're going to make the same mistake that they did last time and losing to Vegas. I have Winnipeg still going to the final, much like in the East. I still have Tampa going in the final. I believe that it's a smart move. I believe I nailed it at the beginning of the year. I'm going with the Tampa-Winnipeg final, and I know it's so unlikely for the best team to win, but it is a 60-win team, and this team is a little bit more than just a really good team. I think Tampa's still going to win it. As far as the games, don't know, don't care, but I'm sticking with my gut. Now, of course, if this was based off of who I want to win, fairly obvious. Do I think they can? Sure. But like I said, at least in the first round, when you look at these teams, I could see any matchup. I could see it going either way. And even through, say, the bottom half, the Pacific side of the Western Conference bracket, between Calgary, Colorado, San Jose, and Vegas, I could legitimately see any of those teams making it to the conference final. I could. Even Colorado. Who's to say? With the magic they've had this year, are they the best team on paper? Probably not. If I had to rank the 4 teams in the Pacific side of the bracket, I'd probably put Colorado as the 4th team in that group. But who's to say? Now, again, if it was the what I want it to happen final, San Jose, Boston. Although I don't really think I'd want to break Joe Thornton's heart. But San Jose, Boston would be kind of nice. It's a prediction at the end of the day. I don't know how much confidence I have in it, but that is the prediction, and you could tell it's a little bit back and forth. We are done here for today, though. I thank you for watching. If you missed it, uploaded alongside this one, yet again, I ran an EA sim as we go through the entirety of a playoff mode with all 16 teams to see what EA thinks. Last year, they had Winnipeg. Let's see what happens this time out. Let me know down in the comments your prediction, what you think is going to happen, whether for every individual matchup or at the very least who your cup winner is, and we will find out. Keep an eye out on Twitter. I may very well do another bracket challenge. Shout out to my buddy Frosty, who, streamer at least, who won the challenge last year. If we do a challenge this year, who will win it? I don't know. But let me know down in the comments again who you think is going to win. Again, videos will be returning soon. Shout out to Jury Duty. You were boring as hell. And I'll see you guys in June when the Bruins win the cup. It's going to happen.